Week 5 booms and busts. Ravens and Bengals light up the fantasy football scene. Week 5 of the NFL was a breath of fresh air after a September filled with uncertainty. The standout matchup featured the Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals, who delivered an incredible 41-38 overtime thriller, racking up a staggering 962 total yards of offense and showcasing an array of fantasy stars. Fantasy boom. Ravens and Bengals. Lamar Jackson shined in this high-scoring affair, throwing for 348 yards and 4 touchdowns while adding 55 rushing yards. Despite a couple of fumbles and a safety, his explosive plays made him a must-start fantasy quarterback. He spread the ball effectively, targeting Zay Flowers, 7 receptions for 111 yards, and Rashad Bateman, 4 receptions for 58 yards and 1 TD. Isaiah Likely also impressed with 2 short touchdown receptions, highlighting the versatility of the Ravens' passing game. Joe Burrow was equally impressive, completing 26 of 39 passes for 392 yards and 5 touchdowns. He leaned heavily on his star receivers, with Jamar Chase, 10 receptions for 193 yards and 2 TDs, and T. Higgins, 9 receptions for 83 yards and 2 TDs, leading the charge. Burrow has bounced back after a rocky start to the season, now boasting 12 touchdown passes in his last 4 games, though the Bengals have unfortunately lost 3 of those. Derrick Henry salvaged his fantasy day with a touchdown and a clutch 51-yard run in overtime, proving his big play ability even when the overall numbers aren't overwhelming. Notable mentions: Colts and Jaguars. The Indianapolis Colts also provided fantasy intrigue, particularly with Joe Flacco, who threw for 359 yards and 3 touchdowns against Jacksonville. However, his defense's collapse overshadowed the performance. Meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence excelled with 371 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, targeting Brian Thomas Jr. effectively. For the Jaguars, Tank Bigsby emerged as a potential fantasy asset with 101 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. As he continues to improve, he could be a valuable addition to rosters moving forward. Other fantasy booms. DJ Moore shone for the Chicago Bears with 5 receptions for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns in a dominant win over the Carolina Panthers. DeAndre Swift continued to be a focal point in the Bears' offense, racking up 120 total yards and a touchdown, proving he remains a reliable fantasy starter. Ramondre Stevenson managed 89 rushing yards and a touchdown against Miami, showing resilience after previous struggles. Early window busts. Josh Allen had a rough outing against Houston, completing only 9 of 30 passes for 131 yards and a touchdown. His struggles highlight the need for the Bills to rethink their offensive strategy. The Miami Dolphins struggled to score touchdowns, with their only TD coming from fullback Alec Ingold. Key receivers Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle failed to find the end zone. Deshaun Watson's ongoing struggles continued against Washington, managing only 4.5 yards per attempt and suffering 7 sacks. Quick hitters. Kyren Williams continues to dominate the Rams' backfield, scoring consistently and making him a key fantasy asset. Tucker Kraft has emerged as a reliable option in Green Bay, filling the void left by injured starters. Garrett Wilson saw a massive target share but struggled to convert, illustrating ongoing chemistry issues with the Jets' quarterback. Conclusion. Week 5 was packed with thrilling performances and significant fantasy implications. The Ravens and Bengals showcased their offensive firepower, while other teams began to emerge as potential fantasy goldmines. As we move into Week 6, the focus will be on maintaining momentum and navigating the injury landscape that often plagues the NFL.